see here. Give me 1 second. I think this is it. All right, yeah, there it goes. Just had to make sure. So, as fate would have it, we're starting off this tanking job pretty strong. Um, you know, the Mavericks matchup was the most interesting to me because I wanted to see Ace Bailey and Cooper Flag match up, particularly because in an ideal world, you have them both as the off guard spots. Interestingly enough, they had Cooper Flag slated as the starting, I guess, point guard role. But here we are. It was good, Dallin. It was good, Tate. It was good, Logic. Regular season should be. I think we're 2 games away because there should only be 4 preseason games. Yeah. So we have one more Trailblazers this Thursday. Then we have the Clippers next Wednesday, and that marks our first regular season bout. Which we will, for obvious reasons, not be attempting to win, if that makes sense. Dude, I gotta get it done. I appreciate it though. Yep. Ace going out with a knee, with what you say? With knee concerns me. Now his games don't matter. Yeah, yeah. It was pleasant for what little time we did have it for, but the injury report continues to proceed. Lowry obviously making his preseason debut, only 18 minutes of action, but 10-4-3, nothing too majestic, nothing too concerning. Yusuf Nurk is trying to fake everybody into believing that he is top 15 big in the league still at this current point, 13 and 15 in just 24 minutes. Lovely performance, but I see through his shenanigans. We'll get to that in a minute. Bryce still Bryce. Cody, decent performance. Kyle, meh, but first game back, so we cut slack. Walter Clayton Jr. I'm gonna have to look at those numbers. And then Taylor Hendricks looks to be decent. Okay. All right, let's see what we can work in right here, boys. He said John Collins and Chris Dunn gonna combine for 70 against us. I'm not gonna lie, that wouldn't even surprise me. I would just be like, at that point, we earned it. At that point, we earned it. It's over with. Not to say that we didn't though, because I missed them both. Chris Dunn a little bit more though. Bro, John Collins is gonna go crazy. John Collins is gonna put 4 people on a poster and we're gonna cry ourselves to sleep. That's what I know. All right, let me see if they had anything crazy. I know Anthony Davis had a good game. Yeah, 25, 6, and 2 in just 25 minutes. Okay. 7 7 from the free throw line, that's why. Clay didn't do much. Coop, 3 of 13, was very curious. I wonder how he's been shooting this preseason overall. Because it felt like he got uncharacteristically strapped. 1 of 6 from 3 is crazy work. To be fair, in college, he wasn't a terrific 3-point shooter, and some people feigned ignorance to that fact. But, it's kind of how it goes. I'd love to see it play out that way. Ace over Flag would be nice. No, today's wasn't best friend, but those first 2 games he was on. First 2 games he was? Okay. All right. We'll see if I have to dig or if they're just going to give it to me. Give it to me. Only 10 a game? 37% field goal percentage. 36% from 3, though. Okay. I don't want to see Jaylen Brown. I'm sorry. I'm good. Thank you. Interesting. Not indicative of who he is, though. I mean, they're running him as the primary guard, which should not be the case. He's the off ball. He's the 2. So it'll be interesting. We need Kyrie back to know for sure what they are. Oh, Dennis Smith Jr. got burned. I didn't even peep that. I love me some Dennis Smith Jr. for no reason apparently. No, it's because he played at NC State. That's why. Dwight Powell is still in the league. Holy cow! Yeah, this is a nice five. Add Kyrie and what's his name? Somebody's missing. They also have off the bench. I'm imagining him dancing on the Nets and then getting slandered on the Lakers. D'Angelo Russell. There we go. D'Lo. And I mean, their bench isn't super known, but it's not completely incompetent. Like you said, Dwight Powell. Yeah. Yeah. This was, I won't say it was a surprisingly low scoring game, but we held them to 39% shooting, which is crazy work. And then 28% from three on over half their overall field goal attempts is even more wild to take into account. Let's see, no John Tonji, no Niang, no McGriff yet. He hasn't been here this whole time. No Walker, no Collier, still no Mo Bamba today. Very interesting. But Oscar Sheboy finally got some burn. In place of that, Kyle Anderson. We went pretty deep today, though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 plus 5, 13. We went 13 deep. Okay. This is the deepest we've went all preseason. No, today's game wasn't... Dude, if Ace ends up being an X, I might cry. I might cry myself to sleep. I don't think he is, though. I think we're safe. We should be, at least. Taylor Hendricks, that 6 of 12 was nice. The 1 of 4 from 3, could be better. I'm not super concerned, though. It is only 4 shot attempts, and overall, he was still 50% from the field. You know what I'm saying? 5 boards, 4 of them being offensive. That's going to be an important factor for him, especially going into the regular season. 3 assists, which is, it doesn't seem like a large number, but when you get to his role on the team, that is a very good game from him. Just similarly to Lowry. Lowry having 3 is also a really good sign. 2 turnovers today for him, though. Lowry didn't have any turnovers. Again, only 18 minutes of action, but still. Didn't hit any of his threes, but still 4 of 9, which means he was 4 of 6 from inside the arc, 2 of 3 from the free throw line. Nothing too crazy. Kessler plus Hendricks equals lockdown. Oh, yes, I should hope so. Cody's defense looked amazing tonight. Cody overall has, over these past 2 games, now, okay, offensively tonight wasn't his best night, but overall the past 2 games, he's looked a lot more competent than he has in a very long time. And again, yes, you could say, take it with a grain of salt. It's just the preseason, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, we have to shoot him some bail here and there. And I think right now we're having a couple moments where we have that opportunity to do that, justifiably so. Yeah. Don't see Ace being an XM. If he would, it'd be worse every time. Yeah, true. Not pleased with Cody. Slightly better. I hope that he does better. I need him to, because this is the one year where, like, if he doesn't take a step forward, he's going to force himself to be in the past, right? And we could say for Keontae George, he's shown a lot. He's shown the stuff in the offseason. He's created workout opportunities for his guys. He's been a leader for everybody, even the guys younger than him, even though he's only going into year 3, right? But at the same time, he just needs to be better. We need the best version of Keontae George this year, because if not, remember, he's starting right now, but for somebody who hasn't played yet, this guy right here, Isaiah Collier. We have Walter Clayton Jr. still trying to find his footing right now. And, that 1 of 7, that 1 of 4 from 3 isn't going to stay, but it was there. He was 5 of 5 from the free throw line, so his jumper's not empty. It's not going to stay gone. It's only going to get better. 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 steals, and 3 turnovers, right? 8 points total, right? And only a -2 box score plus minus. So he was effective in his minutes on the floor, despite him recognizing, hey, my shot's not falling. What else can I do? 5 boards, 7 assists coming off the bench, and just under 30 minutes of action, 3 steals to offset his 3 turnovers. I mean, we could talk all day about it, right? But we just need just a little bit more. Key stand, but Clayton looked better tonight. Yeah, for sure. Even though I think where's his stat? Yeah, he shot better overall. But I mean, this is like akin to his normal regular season stats, unfortunately. He just usually hit 1 3. He'd be like 1 for 3 right here and 3 of 8 overall. If Collier can get his 3-point shot down, he will be elite. turnovers and shooting, he honestly, I would be content if he could be a competent free throw shooter this year. If he can, if he's mediocre from three, right? Because I think last year I want to say he shot like 28.7, 29.7, like he was sub 30 from 3-point range on some aging Jordan Clarkson type beat, injured Jordan Clarkson type beat. So if he can shoot 34% from three, right, and give you 80% from the free throw line this season, I would consider it a huge stride forward, especially if he doesn't, especially if he can cut down on turnovers, because turnovers and shooting are his only major weaknesses. Yes, he's not necessarily a force on defense, but we don't expect him to, especially at his height. But you have to be able to do enough on offense to offset that imbalance, because in this league, it's a scoring league, it's an offense first league, and if you're bad on defense and you also can't do much on offense except pass the ball pretty nice, and even then you're gambling a little bit, and that's what's leading to your turnovers, you have as long as your teammates are willing to give you. Because the moment one of your teammates takes a step forward and outshines you consistently over a short stretch of basketball, he takes your role and then he doesn't look back. And I don't think he wants it to happen. And I do think that he, even though he didn't especially call it out at any point in any recent interviews, I do, and I would like to think he's been working on that jumper for sure. Yeah. When Key missed that lob to Taylor, I was about to punch. Completely understandable. Highlight plays like those are going to be the only, and they're not going to be the only reason we watch games this year, but living for highlight plays like those is going to keep us sane. And if we don't get any, I'm not going to lie, getting beat by 30 in a regular season game and just like watching brick after brick after brick and turnover after turnover after turnover and watching us get posterized and watch threes get splashed in our face is not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun. His finishing at the rim is surprisingly good compared to how he's been, like the way he attacks. He can definitely get better. James, you hit it on the head right there. The lack of lift. And I'd never really watched like highlight tapes of him in high school. And obviously he had that significant spell during college where he was injured. So I don't actually know how bouncy he is, but he finishes well at the rim, but it's not creative, if that makes sense. And for a guy with no jumper, he can stand to be a little bit better. Right now, that driving portion is definitely the best part of his game. And I think part of the reason why he is even competent at the rim right now, despite his lack of creativity when he gets down there, is the fact that he is such a, I'm not even going to say a gifted passer, I'm going to say a willing passer. Like he's looking for the, if the layup is his option one, he's always looking for the option two. I feel like he always has it mapped out in his head to a certain extent when he starts going downhill. So just in case he gets cut off or he doesn't like what he's looking at, there's a dump off he already pre-planned. And sometimes it does lead to a turnover, right? Levels of predictability like that do end up turning out that way. But at the same time, the fact that he even plans that far forward and says, okay, this is option 1, 2, we're going to need an option 3 eventually, right? But we don't need him to be Kyrie Irving to where he gets down at the rim, jumps, has incredible hang time, switches both hands. You don't pulling some wizardry off. We don't necessarily need to expect that from him, but a little bit more would be nice. The only reason that I don't harp on it is just because like his shooting is such a more egregious concern of ours. Matter of fact, let me see just how bad I'm talking right now, because I don't want to talk too much cash about it. I'm not gonna lie. If Svi ends up coming into the regular season, because how many deep can we? Let's look at this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, Oscar 11, Slow-Mo 12, Collier 13, Kessler 14. Tanjay, depending on how Tanjay's contract is situated, he probably makes 15, and Svi should be on the doorstep. But then that also means Elijah Harkless is probably also on the doorstep, and Mo Bamba by proxy. Either way, Svi is like on the Look at Savage. Oh man, I remember those days. Wow. I remember because I used to alternate minutes when Lowry would go down. I'm not gonna say C's a bad basketball player, right? He's not a bad basketball player. I just don't, right? I just bear no emotional attachment to his play style, and for that reason, I can't really care much. You said I hate Svi too, and I got hated on for hating Svi. Hey, it will happen. It will happen. You know, he's a respected veteran in the league. Um, I would much rather prefer he's a respected veteran elsewhere in the league, though. In the most respectful way possible, of course. You know, I just think there's some other guys that I would like to see minutes from, right? For sure. Like 6 minutes of Oscar is crazy. Oh, he hit both his free throws today. I didn't even peep that. It doesn't really mean much, but Oscar just needs a little bit more to round out his game. He thinks he's better. He's an okay 3-point shooter with no defense. Yeah, can't be 3 and D with no D, right? In either sense of the word, I don't think he does. Ignore that. Slip of the tongue. Collier better than Svi simply due to the fact that he knew Sexton was better and he knew Lowry was better. Yeah. Understanding the hierarchy is important. Shouldn't be starting the second half over Bryce. If all he can do is shoot a 3, Bryce is better than him. You got to remember, we're not trying to win. Every time I get frustrated by a lineup that we experiment with, I just remind myself, if it does turn out as bad as I imagine it will, you know, it was all part of the plan. When it's not part of the plan, that's when it irritates me, because it's like it was not anticipated. You said Hendricks looks way stronger this year. Yes, he looks so good, and that's why, like, this 1 of 4 from 3, I am not even worried about. That 1 and 2 from the free throw line, I'm not even worried about. Those 4 offensive rebounds, I could talk about it all day. The offensive glass is going to be important for us, especially missing a lot this year, because that's what's going to happen, considering the lineups that we will most likely run. At the same time, he's just looked smooth, dude. And we haven't really had him on a minutes restriction either. The other night he played like 32 or 34 minutes. Lowry was okay. He didn't hit any of his threes, but again, it's his first game of this preseason. Obviously, he played Eurobasket. He was injured during Eurobasket a little bit. I don't remember exactly which ailments. I believe it was more than one. I just can't remember what it was. But it wasn't enough for him to say, you know what, I'm willing to sit out games, because obviously, like, there's a lot of pride that goes into those national type games. So he comes back to the Jazz. The Jazz are tanking. He can take as much rest as he needs, because we've got, you know, injury reports and all that sort of stuff. We'll do whatever. So this was his first one back. Only 18.5 minutes. That 4 and 9 from the field was okay. 2 of 3 from the free throw line. That 0 of 3 from 3 isn't going to be consistent, obviously, but that's only the main blemish of his game. The 3 assists was high for him, because I don't think he's averaged more than like 2.6, 2.7 maybe at any point in his career. I could be wrong. I could be lying out of my teeth right now. Okay. I'm not looking for preseason. I'm looking for regular season. Oh, it did reload. I was about to say, what's going on? Oh, no, not even that. 2, and that was 2 seasons ago. Okay, never mind. I was shooting too much bail. Yeah, so, I mean, that's an indicator of positivity. You know, nothing else crazy, no turnovers or anything like that. So, just an kind of game. Yeah, what Tyson said, it was pretty mid for him. Bryce got to give that man the ball. I could watch Bryce shoot the basketball all day. That's all I'm going to say on that, because I could talk you to the moon and back. 16 to 19 minutes action, 6 of 10 from the field, 3 of 7 from the three-point line. That's 43%, ladies and gentlemen. Still shooting 60% for the preseason, actually. Every game he's had double-digit field goal attempts, mind you. 1 of 2 from the free throw line, so not anything crazy right there today. 3 boards, 1 assist. 2 personal fouls, no turnovers. 19 minutes, no turnovers. Considering he took double-figure shots, 16 points. Box score plus minus is true to him. -1 only. Defensively, he's looking a little bit more competent, right? There's still definitely some strides he needs to take, but he's not, I wouldn't call him a cone. And when he does have cone-ish possessions, he gives you a bucket on offense. And that's a really, really good reason to keep him out on the floor and let him work through those problems. Who do I have starting at point guard? If he's healthy, I think it will go Isaiah Collier. I see no reason how we start the regular season with Keontae George as a starting point guard. I didn't even peep his assists to turnovers right here. Because the first 2 games of the preseason, he had like I think he had 6 assists the first game, 5 assists first game, 5 or 6. And the second game, it was like 8. It was 7 or 8. And then his turnovers were low. This is not the kind of game we need from him. 2 assists to 4 turnovers cannot happen, right? That's not anywhere near starting point guard material. Granted, he played 24 minutes, but 4 turnovers in 24 minutes is not good either, right? That's not great. We had Walter Clayton in 6 more minutes of action, shot mediocre from the field, still had a higher 3-point percentage, hit more free throws, had 5 boards to his 0, had 7 assists to his 2, had 3 steals to his 0, and only had 3 turnovers to his 4, right? So, and his box score plus minus told the difference of the tail, -2 to -16, right? We're trying to tank, but we're not trying to look like we're complete buns. And Keontae George made sure we were not going to win this game today, among some other things. But that being number one. Larry, let's see. Oh man, I got behind real quick. Taking Yang over Svi. Yeah, I would agree with that. Wouldn't change much to defense. It's basically the same. Yeah, but at least Niang feels. I don't know. It's a vibe thing. I think I'm writing on vibes too much. Lowry will turn into his Eurobasket self. We will go 7-5 in our first 12 games, and he'll get injured. Of course, that's how it's gonna happen, unless we randomly decide to play Keontae George 35 minutes. It will cancel out anything Lowry can do. I promise. Nah, I'm playing. I hope. I'm not gonna lie. If Walker Kessler is not available, and we have to watch Yusuf Nurkic play 30+ games or 30+ minutes a night, we'll see any affinity for good basketball that we have go out the window defensively, because he cannot protect the rim. It stood true today as well. It was hidden a little bit better because he had Taylor Hendricks and Larry Markkinen assisting him, right? Because they share the floor for most of their minutes together. But for the most part, he's not offering any resistance. So any game that we see Lowry sit or we see Taylor sit, God forbid, it's going to get really heinous. It's going to get wicked at that rim, basically. You said Bryce's shot always feels like it's going in. Exactly. Rough when him and Q on the floor together. It's bad because I just need to look. I need some more isolation footage of watching like the half court set, like we're in 2K. Like, in 2K when it shows you the half court, like you're at mid court, at the half court line looking at the rim. I need that angle of us playing defense. Like, I don't want the side court, because sometimes I can tell when guys are talking and communicating over screens. Other times I can't. I need that bird's eye front facing you, because I need to see if Keontae George doesn't talk like he needs to on defense, or if he's just getting fried sometimes. With him and Bryce Sensabaugh in the backcourt together, it's not a great duo to have. I will openly admit. But the difference is Bryce, if he gives up 20, he can also score 20. If Keontae George gives up 20, well, he might spot you 20 on the other side of the ball as well, and that hole becomes 40. At the very least, that's what we're seeing thus far this preseason with his shooting. Hopefully that doesn't, again, this is the preseason. Guys got to warm up, all that sort of stuff, take it with a grain of salt. But we only have one more preseason game left, right? And if we don't set the tone in that one and show, hey, okay, guys, we're ready to go, there's going to be some questions going into the regular season. And like what do we say? First game's against the Clippers? Clippers, right? Yeah. First game's, we got the Trailblazers. If we look bad again, if he can't shoot well against the Trailblazers, I'm going to have some choice words, right? It's the Trailblazers. I'll say it again. It's the Trailblazers, right? I'm not going to be mad if guys are missing at the rim, because their front court is kind of tough. Donovan Clingan is like Walker Kessler, but not Walker Kessler. Pretty impressed, right? And they have Chinaman too. That, I feel like that's like out of pocket to say, but it shouldn't be. They have the gentleman from China, who I'm rather fond of his hoops. But from a guard standpoint, Scoot Henderson doesn't scare me. If Scoot Henderson can hold you to 30% shooting from the field, we have other problems on our hands. But again, tomato. We'll worry about that later. Clippers is going to be a really big test game to see where we are, because we can play good basketball and try and win this game, and we'll still probably lose, right? As long as the Clippers are healthy. if we try to win this game and we try to keep this game close, right? Let's say we don't try to win. We try to keep the game close, keep it competitive, and we can't keep it competitive. There's going to be some questions being asked, right? There's going to be some lineup questions being asked. If we can't keep a competitive game against the Kings and throw it in the last 2 minutes of the game, questions, right? The Suns, they let KD go. They still have Bradley Beal, right? I think they still have Bradley Beal. They picked up Jalen Green and somebody else, but both of them were uninspiring. I love Jalen Green, by the way, but he just hasn't fit well, and I don't think he's going to fit very well alongside Devin Booker. Then we have the Trailblazers in the regular season, right? That's going to be a game that we have to put a pin in and pay attention to, because our rosters match up decently, but ours should, in theory, outclass theirs. So this should be a game where you intentionally see Will Hardy throw out a funky lineup for like 8 minutes of the game for no reason, right? Just to test things out, to make sure we lose. If we lose without a funky lineup, again, if we lose without putting out any funky, weird, like, why is this on the court lineups, we have another problem on our hands, right? Because that shouldn't happen. And we need to reevaluate the players that didn't perform well in this one. Similarly to when we play the Hornets, right? The Hornets have no front court right now. They need to make a trade and get some front court or sign somebody, look into the buyout market or something. They got to do something. If they don't, and we can't finish at the rim consistently, and they're giving us trouble with Kalkbrenner, we got cock and ball torture out there in Charlotte. I said out there like I'm not in Charlotte. And Colin Sexton, yeah, I was about to say gives us 30. That's a realistic thing that could occur. Who's off the bench that could? I don't know, but somebody that shouldn't be going off on the Hornets basically like rips us a new one, and then we can't finish at the rim against their non-existent front court. Again, questions, right? It's not losing that will concern us. We know we're supposed to lose. We, in theory, want to lose, but it's how you lose, right? If you can choose how you lose the game, it's fine. If your opponent dictates how you lose the game, that means you're incompetent. And there's a whole different discussion we have to talk about with that one. And I don't like those discussions. But yeah. I got behind. Let me look. I went on a little tangent, didn't I? Yeah. Outside Collier getting a worse injury. We aren't starting with Key. Yeah. Key's going to have to earn that starting role back. Zay, Ace, Lowry, Hendricks, Kessler. Yeah, I would like to see the defense on that one, Tayton. I know Ace at 2 is ballsy, but I want to see it. It needs to be Ace at the 2, because it's going to force him to work on his handle and work on his passing sense as well. And for the most part, what we've seen in the preseason, he can run that 2 guard spot pretty decently and efficiently at that, picking his targets very, very well. That was a game. Watch second half. Heard Ace was out second half. Yeah, it was better defensive overall effort. They also just missed a lot of shots. They shot 39.5% from the field. Shouldn't have happened, but it did. We went pretty deep in our bench. They went decently deep in their bench. I think we went 13 people deep, I said. 13 or 14. Not really much to glean out of this one because Ace went down so early. I was really hoping to see more him versus, that number 5 versus number 1 pick type back and forth duel. We didn't really get that, but I understand it. Nurkic, great passer, jump shooter, has no quickness on defense. Yeah, Nurkic, the one thing and the reason why I'm glad we have him on the team is because offensively he gives us everything that I feel would allow Walker Kessler to earn a max contract with the Jazz, right? Because you can't neglect the fact that he's a really good defender. You can make the argument, hey, he's not great offensively, so you might eventually want to move on from him, right? If he has no jumper, he has no free throw, because Nurkic is a pretty decent free throw shooter if memory serves me right. He's like high 70s. I don't think he's 80s, but he should be high 70s. Let me see. All right, I lied to myself. Oh wait, this is 8 games. This is 72 games. Okay, what is going on here, brother? What is he? All right, ignore my previous point, but this is still significantly better than what Walker Kessler currently shoots. Walker's like upper 50s, or he was previously. So even if he can get mid 60s, preferably if he could get to like 71%, that would be lovely. I would consider Walker to be the better defensive rebounder. But if you look at it from that assists, like 2 assists doesn't look like a lot. 2.5 assists doesn't look like a lot. But when you take into, dang, 4 in 2023, 2024, really? Because they didn't have a point guard, really. Okay, all right, I'm understanding now. But yeah, if we could get him to give us 2.5 assists a game, we're not going to call him Jokic. We're not going to say he's a passing hub, but he will definitely be more valuable to the offense as a whole. And I think your Nurkic offensively could show us, or rather show Walker Kessler a little bit more of what is necessary for him to be, that guy. Hopefully. Collier in with Nurkic so Key can rim run or pass out to anyone. Interesting concept there, Tyson. I don't hate that, actually. That would be interesting to see. I definitely think we could see those two running guard, especially with some Nurkic minutes this season. And even if it's Walker Kessler, still those two would be interesting in that sort of setting. A lot of players getting in passing lanes. 3 preseason games. Yeah. Want to see Ace and Kessler pick and rolls all day, every day. That's going to be an interesting caveat. Because Kessler, especially last season, did improve in that aspect of his game. That and just being tenacious on the glass and not allowing everybody to just sit there and shove him around. So hopefully, we see a lot of lobs. We see a lot of strong finishes at the rim. Just a lot of action between the two of them, and they become very comfortable with each other, right? That chemistry that they can build will take them very, very far. Hoping to see for Kyle. Yeah. Passed out on the try. You're not necessarily wrong, Logic. Hope we lose, but I'm worried we're too good. Oh, don't worry. We can lose games. You remember last season, we put up stinkers. We put up closing lineups that had Cody Williams on the floor. He had no business being in any closing lineup ever. Every time I saw Cody Williams in a lineup, I went to smack my forehead like a cartoon character. Then I thought about it. I was like, never mind. We know what we're doing, right? We know what we're doing. It's one of those, what is it? Detective Dokes from that one murder mystery show with the Bay Harbor Butcher. I can't remember the show for the life of me. But yeah, that type of vibe where like you can't call it just obstruction of basketball justice, but you know exactly what's going on here. You just can't concrete. Thank you, Dexter. You can't concretely pull it out and say, hey, we're throwing the game, but play that little music in the background. You know exactly as well as I do. That's what we're doing. But yeah. Isn't Beal on the Unks clips? Beal needs to go, dude. I have some choice words about Beal. Not very fond of him. Respect him as a basketball player. Respect him as a grown man, But I don't like Beal hoops, respectfully. Sick of losing. It's been like 4 years out. Yeah. I don't want to watch us lose this year. I'm hoping highlight plays can carry my brain through the losses. Because it's just not enjoyable. It's not fun. And this has to be the last year, like effectively. Like somebody could, God forbid, somebody could experience a catastrophic injury next year that keeps them out. Lowry could be out next year for the entire season. I still want us to try and win basketball games. If we're middle in the pack and we're just mediocre buns, we get to the play-in and that's it. Cool, fine and dandy, whatever. I'll live with that. But I don't want to sit here and tank, oh no, we're down a major piece. There's no reason to make a playoff push. There's no reason to try and be decent at basketball. Let's just throw the games away, right? No, we've done it too many freaking years, right? Yeah, there's gonna be a child going into kindergarten who has never seen a winning season of Utah Jazz basketball. There's somebody whose entire time in college will be them knowing that the Utah Jazz had not had a winning season during that tenure, right? That's a long time. When you put it into context like that, it's a terribly long time. And I understand rebuilding and tanking and all that sort of stuff, but it gets to a point, right? It gets to a point where we just you have enough. You have enough. But yeah. Saw a post saying the Hornets should trade Grady Dick for Grady Dick. You saw that too, Tayton? Yeah. Yeah. Dick and balls was the caption I saw. I think it might have been, it wasn't Bleacher Report that did it. Somebody with an emblem similar to Bleacher Report was like Dick and balls, and they had Grady Dick, Alonzo, and LaMelo on the poster. And I was like, you know what? At this point, just do it, dude. Why not? Just for the memes. Just for the memes. All the jersey swaps. I want to see a jersey swap with Dick and balls. Dick and ball, right? Right. Just do it. I have nothing else to look forward to this season, seemingly. But you never know. Might change my mind. Was Key as bad as his stat line suggests? So much of him. Yeah. He won the offseason. I'd like to think still coming into this regular season, he's going to take steps forward. But it's not looking good. Right? Overall, he's not looking crazy impressive. What you see is what you get. That negative 16 box score plus minus is very indicative of how he ran the floor, how he controlled the offense, right? Defensively, he wasn't incompetent, but he wasn't a stellar standout person. 4 turnovers, 2 assists. Can't have that happening if you're vying for the starting point guard spot, because you're not going to win the 2 guard spot, because that's probably going to end up being aces, because we're going to keep Lowry at the 3 and keep Hendricks at the 4, and Flip's going to fill in at the 4 because you have Nurkic and Kessler at the 5, right? So he's vying for starting point guard minutes, and it's not looking good. News flash, yeah, today wasn't a great game for him. Nurkic is like Olynyk, but more on the physical side. Yeah, that's pretty fair to say, actually. Yeah, it is, all things considered. Not half as bad as Draymond antics. Prefer to get his own medicine. Nurkic won't do it. No balls. He won't. Wonder if Nurkic starts over Kessler some regular season. I could see it happening if Walker Kessler fails to produce with the standards that they put in front of him. I don't know what the bullet points are going to be on the whiteboard for him to achieve each game, but if he goes over like a 5-game stretch where he doesn't do it, I definitely see Nurkic sliding into that starting role and them saying, yo, you got to earn this, right? You want that contract, you want that renewal, but we're seeing back-to-back games where you're just not capitalizing, bro. Like, you've gotten better. There's nobody doubting that, but we need more. We need the greatest Walker Kessler night in and night out. Even if we're thinking we need the best version of you, we should have to lobby to take you off the court, because you're literally going to make us win games. That's the type of Walker Kessler we need. And if we don't get that, well, that's what Nurk's here for. And he has been surprisingly more in shape than I was anticipating coming into this season. Because the national team head coach said that he was incredibly out of shape when he went overseas during the summer. When I saw Patty Mills, I knew we lost. Yeah, Clipper. Thank you. The Clippers have Bradley Beal. I was trying to think in my head. I was like, is Bradley Beal still over there? That makes a lot more sense now. My brain hit it. Do you think we finish as the worst team in the league, or is Brooklyn, Washington taking the mantle? Washington is secretly, very secretly, cooking right now. Now they're not going to be a good team. Don't twist those words. But they have the ability to be better than us. Brooklyn is the most incompetent right now, though. So Brooklyn, we're definitely going to have a bottom 3 finish. But I think Brooklyn has us beat because their roster composition is just disgusting. Cam Thomas on a qualifying offer, I think, right now, too. Like, there's just too much ridiculousness going on over there. Yeah, they have the worst of the team title. If we manage to lose to them while trying to lose, it would be the most ironic thing ever. It would be hilarious. But I don't think it will happen. Get Black in there too. Seem to be your friends. Think they make good teammates. Short of Washington doing worse or Charlotte imploding, most likely one of the worst. Fair point. Brooklyn just MPJ and a bunch of point guards that can't shoot. Yeah, I think their draft. All right, so here's the reason why I'm a hater of Brooklyn right now, right? They had 1/6 of the entire first round's draft picks this season. This draft that just passed, they had 5 first round draft picks. They had 7 draft picks overall this draft. Gun to your head, name 1 draft pick they made. You can't. I can't. No, I think of the one guy because I looked into him. He's like a 6'7". He was supposed to run point guard. I think he went to Georgetown or something like that. He has a weird. He doesn't have a weird name. I think he's from Europe originally, so his name is difficult to pronounce. I don't think he has like a Bieber bowl, but like, he has one of those cuts. He was the only guy of note that I had even seen tape on that I cared for that they drafted. Everybody else, you mean to tell me 7 draft picks and only one of them was like I wonder what he could be kind of guy? 5 first rounders. 7 out of 60 picks were you. Thank you, BYU. Thank you. Yeah. He went to BYU. Yes, that is. 7 draft picks. And I can't name one of 7. Not one. Really? Igor Dimin. Yes. Thank you. It's just, it's disgusting. And the only reason I paid attention to him was because I low-key was interested in for the Jazz at the time. Even though we did have obviously Isaiah Collier and whatnot, and we do have a guard battle, I was like, maybe he would be a little bit more competent defensively, and that could offset a little bit of the offensive progression that we're looking for from him. That was my mindset at the very least, because offensively he can be kind of up and down, but defensively he's not great, but he has the ability to be more competent than Isaiah Collier because of his just superior size and length. So like, let me look at some tape, and so I did. That's the only reason he exists on my radar. But yeah, I have no faith in Brooklyn's front office. I think they're just collecting a check at this point. They're a big marketplace. Their owners are just there for the money. Yeah, he wasn't even their first pick off the board. And ever since MPJ got traded out there, he's just been talking about, the lovely. He's been going on a podcast tour. Just saying the craziest thing he can think of off the top of his head right there. Any question, it doesn't matter how crazy it is. Would you eat graham crackers out of your grandma's ass for 35 cents? He'll say yes, and then he'll give you an explanation as to why, right? Just the craziest things. And it makes you think, did Denver really have him under lock and key? Because he just seemed like such a business professional guy, like the positive to his brother's negative, just crazy stuff. But it's him and just whoever the heck else out there. So we'll see if they can string together more than 10 wins. They will struggle. Defensively, if you think we're bad, good God. They're mad to make it look like it's AAU season. You remember those Chino Hill days with all 3 Ball brothers when they could put up 100 points in 3 quarters off home run passes? Yeah, we're going to see something very similar to that because they're in trouble. They are in trouble. We last in the West. Yeah, we'll probably be last in the West. I'm not going to lie. Because the Pelicans look healthy. They have Jordan Poole now. Healthy, in shape Zion Williamson and company. Yeah, I think they do got it on the low. Yeah, it was disgusting. Sounds like an Dante Exum is bad. Love how they are now. Do we shut this guy up? It's hilarious, honestly. Again, going to hit 150 to 145 between us and the Nets. Yo, I'm not gonna lie. If that'll be the game where Lowry has to sit on the bench. We have to have Lowry, and honestly, Taylor Hendricks might have to sit that one out too, because we might be too long defensively. We might roll out a lineup of Keontae George, Cody Williams. Oscar Shibwe, Kyle Anderson, and Isaiah Collier. Just run a starting five of that. Go toe to toe. Every single minute of the game. At that point, that would be, I guess, the most productive thing to do because it's just not meant to be. There's no positives to be gleaned from that interaction. But yeah, I didn't want to take up too much of you gentlemen's time, but you know, the tank continues. You know what I'm saying? We got we have one more preseason game, and it's arguably the one preseason game that we should and could realistically win against the Portland Trailblazers. And then we play the Clippers to start out the season 0-1. But, you know, gotta pump the brakes and let us lose the game before I sit there and talk too much, because they might surprise us and accidentally win the game. It's entirely feasible at this point. But nevertheless, as I always say, thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, turn on post notifications. Become a member to help support the channel. And as always, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're on the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you boys in the next one. Peace.